Ondo recently just announced one of the biggest things happening around crypto, and I still feel like almost nobody even cares. Because again, today the price of Ondo is at around roughly 91 cents, and not a lot of people are paying attention to this project. It's only on 375,000 watch list, and that might sound like a lot, but in the entire world, that's really not that many people at all. Now, in terms of crypto, is 375,000 people a decent amount? Sure, it is, but think about Ondo. Ondo only has 160,000 holders. That's right, only 160,000 holders, yet the value of Ondo is at almost $3 billion in market cap, fully diluted value $9.11 billion. But still, what just got announced by Ondo, which is targeting a $65 trillion industry, is still going overlooked. It's still extremely undervalued from Ondo's perspective, and almost nobody is paying attention. We have to address this. We have to talk about this because Ondo is probably one of the most undervalued and most overlooked projects in the tokenization space. So just taking a quick look at where we are currently trading, I really do think that Ondo is repeating this pattern back here, where we had a nice little run, then we sold off into almost a bull flag formation, and then we had another big spike up. Now, the problem here is, look at what ended up happening after that big spike up. I don't think that this is what we are going to do next. And the reason why is because I do think that we start to see alt season really show up next on the major wave. Because again, the next major wave in this market should be leading into wave 3 of the cycle, which should be, of course, like I said, altcoin season really showing its strength. That's where we start to see the large cap projects like Ondo starting to see a ton of capital rotation into them. So I'm really watching that happen. Well, I should say I'm really watching for that to happen here very soon. But the main thing that we're looking at with Ondo is the price chart, because this is what we currently have in front of us, right? Like, we have this long extended wedge essentially where we're just kind of chopping. Nothing is going, like, nothing crazy is happening right now. The biggest thing to focus on here is the bullish structure that we are currently in, right? We have a low down here. Now we're starting to kind of form a higher low. Is there a possibility that we retest around like 70 cents? There is. However, I'm not expecting us to, really see that push to the downside. I'm mainly looking at the low back here as well from April. I would love for us to maintain this low as well. So, having this almost inverse head and shoulders pattern printed out on the chart will be very bullish for us, and we'll start to actually see a much larger climb to the upside where we could potentially target this all-time high on the chart from back in, December, and this would be around roughly $2.15 for Ondo. And the best part about this current structure that we are in also on the weekly is that we do have a higher high. I know it's very shallow, but it's still there, and this is still bullish structure on Ondo. But I'm mainly watching for us to really kind of break out of this and clear some of these recent highs. It's probably going to act as resistance for a bit of time. Mainly, I'm looking at some of the levels in which we closed at back here. Some support, some resistance. This is right around like roughly $1.09. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once Ondo does break out, I do think that this is going to be a top mover. I think that there's going to be a lot of attention on Ondo as well. And just this week alone, we made so much noise from what we just announced, which we'll get to that here in one moment. And that really is circulating around tokenized stocks, right? Because tokenized stocks right now, there's currently $383 million tied to tokenized stocks. I mean, guys, this market is so small. It is absolutely, it's crazy to me on how small the tokenized stocks market is. Compared to some of the other things that are tokenized already on chain. Like, if we go to the public networks real quick and just kind of go and look at, one of these networks. Let's just go to Ethereum, right? Look at the asset classes. So stablecoins obviously are the number one here. Number two is US Treasuries. But then we also have commodities, institutional funds, things like that. But stocks are such a small piece of the pie here. It's crazy that stocks are not making up more value. And we could actually see that here as well. So let me just go through. Let's go back to the value real quick because it is, shuffled around. But we can see like institutional funds over $600+ million. Like this one institutional fund makes up more value than all of the tokenized stocks on chain. That's how ridiculous this is. So again, if we're thinking about stocks, which are probably one of the easiest things to make the argument for bringing on chain. I mean, they don't trade 24/7. It's just another one of those markets that, if we think about all of the issues that plague cross-border payments and we talk about how crypto can solve all of these problems, it's just another one of those industries that we look at and say, yeah, crypto can change the entire way that stocks work. And that's why tokenized stocks have such a strong argument around them, because we know how many participants are around the stock market. We know how much value is tied to the stock market. We know how blockchain can completely revolutionize the way that stocks are traded, how the stock market works. And also, a lot of the big players tied to the stock market, like the NASDAQ, want to already, bring stocks on chain anyways. They want to start doing that in 2026. They want to change the way that stocks are trading. They want to go to 24/5. But blockchain can already make it 24/7. There's no reason why stocks should not live on chain. But talking about that, Ondo down here has 103 stocks tied to it. That's right. $26.6 million tied to Ondo. This is up 31,000+% in the last 30 days because we just brought 103 stocks on chain. We can see all of the stocks down here. These have been growing rapidly over the last couple of days as well. In terms of the value, I think that we're just starting with this. So we're definitely focused on how big some of these stocks can get and how big Ondo can become as well with this. Now, I know that a lot of people are kind of concerned about why, these are all listed on Ethereum. It's starting with Ethereum. They're going multi-chain. We'll address that as well. But let's dive on into this announcement, because here we have the Mag 7 accounts for over $19 trillion in value, representing over 1/3 of the S&P 500, now accessible on chain with the liquidity of traditional markets. Yeah, this is just 19 trillion. This is with the Mag 7. This is just the top 7 tech stocks. $19 trillion. But what about the 65 trillion? Well, let's talk about that, because here we have Wall Street 2.0 is here. Ondo Global Markets is now live, providing one of the largest ever selections of tokenized US stocks and ETFs on chain with the liquidity of traditional finance starting on Ethereum. 100+ assets now live, with hundreds more on the way. If we go over here, we have Ondo Global Markets launches with support from many of the world's leading applications and platforms, including all of these major players. We have Chainlink, we have all of the major exchanges from crypto as well. A few major institutional players like, for example, Zodia, Fireblocks. We love to see this. This is incredible because, again, what Ondo just announced, it's not just to benefit Ondo. It's not just benefiting, Ondo and, the actual token tied to Ondo. No, this is benefiting the entire space, because guess what? We're now starting to see the convergence of crypto and traditional finance in such a huge way. This is extremely exciting. Now we also have over here, building for the open economy. The current investment ecosystem is broken. Global investors have historically faced barriers to accessing the 64 trillion US securities markets due to high fees, limited access, transfer frictions, platform fragmentation, and geographic exclusions. I know it says 64 trillion, but we are so close to 65 trillion that I just kind of rounded it up. But regardless of that, we have these problems have persisted for decades, locking millions out of capital markets and stifling innovation. Ondo Global Markets breaks through these limitations and transforms how securities are issued, accessed, and traded. Then also setting the highest standards for tokenized equities. Here we have Ondo Global Markets represents a step change over existing tokenized or tokenization platforms, solving the structural issues that have plagued on-chain equities. illiquidity, wide spreads, and persistent price dislocations. Unlike prior models that attempt to recreate liquidity, Ondo tokenized stocks inherit it directly from traditional exchanges, enabling for the first time tokenized securities at scale with price integrity and true market depth. And while some recent versions of tokenized stocks are locked in siloed platforms, Ondos are transferable and usable across DeFi, designed for composability, automation, and integration into the broader crypto ecosystem. And yeah, this is where we start to see the big revolution happen in real time. The convergence happen in real time, because what Ondo is doing here with the standards that are tied to it, with everything that they've been trying to do for over the last couple months, guys, this has all been building up to this point, and I'm very, very excited about this announcement. Ondo Global Markets delivers the next generation feature set for tokenized stocks, ETFs, and more, including 24/7 peer-to-peer transferability, 24/5 instant mint and redemption, access to traditional exchange liquidity, and then DeFi compatibility as well. Because again, this is going to lead to a massive revolution within not just the tokenization market, but the DeFi market as well. Secured, verified, enforced. Ondo tokenized stocks and ETFs are fully backed and secured by U.S. stocks and ETFs held at one or more U.S. registered broker-dealers together with cash in transit. A third-party verification agent reviews backing daily, and an independent security agent holds a first priority security interest in the backing assets for the benefit of token holders. Ondo tokenized stocks are issued using battle-tested practices designed to maximize bankruptcy remoteness as well. Again, making sure that they have everything in place to ensure that this is the best way to bring tokenized stocks on chain. They made sure that they have everything in place for this. And then last but not least, this is just the beginning for Wall Street 2.0. Ondo Global Markets is going multi-chain, soon expanding to Ondo Chain, BNB Chain, Solana, and more to make US markets even more accessible worldwide. So yeah, if we were concerned or worried about, oh, all of this is issued out on Ethereum, why is it always Ethereum? Guys, it's Ethereum initially, right? But this is going to expand into a multi-chain world. We know everything is multi-chain. What's good for Ethereum is good for the entire space, because again, we will start to see that bridged over EVMs. We've been talking about the EVM sidechain with even XRP. I mean, this is just how things are going to work initially. Everything will be issued out on, a platform that's extremely liquid. Ethereum has most of the liquidity in this market with almost $160 billion in stablecoin market cap. So it makes sense for them to see a lot of these tokenized values hit Ethereum first before it starts to hit all of these other networks. But I don't think that it's going to work like that forever. We will start to see that change over time, especially once we start to see more stablecoins on some of these other platforms. But this is just an incredible announcement for everything around this space, because again, it's not just good for Ondo, it's not just good for Ethereum, it's good for the entire space, because this is going to go multi-chain. We are going to see this expanded everywhere, and this is still 64, I'm gonna just round it up to 65 trillion dollar revolution, and this is going to continue to break the barriers around what we already see in this market. So I love to see this. This is incredible for Ondo. This is also another main reason why Ondo is so undervalued. They just continue to make so much noise, yet so many people are not listening at all. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on, because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.